On this week's news, Colton Herta is set to get a taste of F1, while the sports power brokers get a win. You can now watch full 24-minute episodes of The Inside Line at our official home on unbeaten.com. Portugal's undulating Portimão circuit will again be the focus for Formula One fans, with the track this week hosting a two-day test for IndyCar pilot American Colton Herta, ahead of an expected free practice session at a Grand Prix later this season. Herta will get his first taste of F1 power in McLaren's 2021 MCL 35M car, which won last year's Italian Grand Prix in the hands of Daniel Ricciardo. Lando Norris in second for the squad's first 1-2 since Canada 2010. Herta, a seven-time IndyCar race winner, competed in Europe early on in his career and is being hyped as the USA's current best shot at an F1 seat. The objective of the test is to see how he's doing there, and as you know, we have to do 2 times this year a free practice session with a young driver, said McLaren boss Andreas Seidel. F1's power brokers had a significant win in Austria after the FIA agreed to increase the sport's $140 million cost cap by 3.1% this year to adjust for rising inflation. The governing body had already taken it into account for 2023 with a 3% shift planned, but has brought it forward to ensure that the grid won't face overspending penalties. Two-time F1 world champion Fernando Alonso will wait until after F1's summer break to discuss his future at Alpine, with a 2-year extension expected that would take him through to age 43. Alonso returned to Enstone last year to replace Daniel Ricciardo, a high-profile replacement to save face for the Renault board, and has lost none of his steam, with a front-row start in Canada, 5th-place finish at Silverstone, and 10th at Austria. But while he's under pressure to retain his seat, with Alpine young gun Oscar Piastri waiting in the wings, Alonso is happy to race until the break before discussing his options. This July, we have 4 races, and I need to score points because the first 9 races have been a little bit unlucky for me, he said. Piastri is expected to be loaned out to another team from 2023, with the latest rumors putting him at Williams or even McLaren. AlphaTauri driver Yuki Tsunoda opened up in Austria, revealing that he's got a new psychologist to help him deal with when his brain starts to get quite overheated in the car. Red Bull Motorsport consultant Dr. Helmut Marko was the first to flag Tsunoda's fiery temper, evident in his regular team radio outbursts in his rookie year, but says it's still an issue. We should keep our emotions in check. Thank God Max is calm. Our problem child in this respect, not only in this respect, is Tsunoda. He explodes on the radio. You wouldn't believe it, Marko said. Tsunoda moved to Faenza in Italy last year to be closer to the team. But while he's been working with a new psychologist since Monaco, the 22-year-old says maybe he wouldn't have crashed into his teammate Pierre Gasly at Silverstone if it was effective. I have to take a bit more time because he has to understand more about myself, and also we have to understand what direction we have to take, he said. 7-time F1 world champion Sir Lewis Hamilton says Mercedes isn't far away from winning races this year, based on the W13's strong race pace, including the fastest lap at Silverstone. The Silver Arrows are yet to win a race in 2022 with the 12-race drought dating back to Saudi Arabia last year, its longest in the sport's hybrid era. But Hamilton says its British Grand Prix upgrade was effective, while in Austria the squad scored its 7th podium for the season. But team boss Toto Wolff says while podiums are a marker of progress, the top step is always the goal.
there isn't any victory among them, and I'd like to see the team in a position that we can fight for victories on track, and everybody keeps developing their car, so we not only need to catch up, but out-develop them, and that is a challenge.
Ferrari hopes that Carlos Sainz's maiden F1 win at Silverstone releases him from expectation, despite his car catching on fire in Austria. Sainz mastered the chaos of the British Grand Prix, taking the lead after the late safety car restart. And team boss Mattia Binotto, speaking with the sport's official podcast F1 Nation, hopes that it will prove to be a turning point in the Spaniard's career.
I think he's a fantastic driver, he's strong. Certainly will give him further more confidence. And to have two drivers that can win, for us, it's the best we can have.
Sainz's Silverstone win came on his 150th start, the second longest wait after Sergio Perez's 190. But Binotto saved some cheeky advice for the Spaniard post-race.
150 Grand Prix to wait for it. I said now you should not wait for us at 150 before the next pole and the next win.
Mercedes says Sir Lewis Hamilton could have finished at least second in the British Grand Prix without the arrival of the safety car, though the win may have been a bridge too far. Hamilton finished third at Silverstone, his third podium for 2022, and his second straight, following a final 10-lap dogfight with rivals Red Bull's Sergio Perez and Ferrari's Charles Leclerc. But without the safety car, Mercedes says it would have been a straight fight between Hamilton and the two prancing horses.
Looking at his pace, looking at the gap to Carlos, we're pretty confident he would have been able to catch and pass on track. The bigger question is Charles was a bit further up the road and a little bit quicker car, so whether he would have been able to catch him, we don't know. And the reality is we would have had to see that play out on track to know what the real answer is.
ProDrive boss David Richards says his company would be open to an F1 assault, but that the current barriers to entry are too high. Richards, who is also chairman of FIA member club Motorsport UK, has plenty of F1 experience as a former team principal of Benetton and BAR, but said to the sport's official podcast Beyond the Grid that getting into the sport today requires a gigantic budget.
We always look at things with an open mind, but it's a different world than the old days. If I turned the clock back 30 years ago, I should have started a Formula One team then. Doing one now, you've got to be a billionaire and and prepared to lose half of it to get the thing going.
Alfa Romeo pilot Zhou Guanyu has revealed his car's roll hoop withstood forces well beyond the FIA's safety requirements before failing during his monster crash at the British Grand Prix. Guanyu flipped following contact with Mercedes driver George Russell and skidded along on his halo after the roll hoop was destroyed, until he rolled over the first corner tire barrier and into the space between it and the catch fencing. But while the halo saved his life, Guanyu says the car's roll hoop did the job it was mandated to do before braking. I think the first hit was much harder than what they test for in the safety test, he said. This was like a few times harder than the actual numbers we want in that. Red Bull has clarified that while Juri Vips is no longer the test and reserve driver for its top F1 squad after using a racial slur during a Twitch session, he remains part of its junior team. The Estonian F2 pilot was sidelined after his verbal indiscretion during an online stream in which he was playing video game Call of Duty. But while Red Bull acted swiftly, both condemning his slur and withdrawing his F1 role, Vips raced on in F2. The 21-year-old is now 8th in the 2022 F2 standings after 8 rounds. His double points finish in Austria for 5th and 8th, drawing him level with Dennis Hauger.
Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.